Tonight, Bob Hawke remembered at the Sydney Opera House in an emotional farewell last Friday. We'll have all the details. Also, the latest from HWPS as 2 trees are pulled down on Wednesday.
The tree obviously fell down, and then later on they pulled down another tree.
Nik Towfigh Nia is there live. Pie star Jaden Stevenson caught up in a betting scandal. See what his punishment is.
I'm fully aware that as an AFL footballer, I'm not allowed to bet on AFL matches, but I justified my behaviour.
And AFL outrage at Marvel Stadium. How much security is too much? This is HMV Local News with Leonardo Puglisi. Good evening. Bob Hawke has been farewelled at the Sydney Opera House in a funeral held last Friday. His family was there to say goodbye to a legend of Australian politics. Other notable names there were current PM Scott Morrison, opposition leader opposition leader Anthony Albanese, and of course his political foe turned friend again, Paul Keating. He was farewelled by people of all ages, both inside and outside of the Opera House.
This memorial service marks the transition from the grief of loss to the celebration of a life triumphantly well lived.
He never hid himself from us. He let us see all of his complexity, all of it. And that's what Australians loved about him.
The table started to move. It pinned the Prime Minister to the bulkhead. Then it retreated. Then it came back harder as momentum gathered. F this, he said repeatedly.
I'm sorry, we don't have anything more.
F this, he said repeatedly.
Oh yeah, we will have a special video dedicated to the life of Bob Hawke coming soon. I'm sorry. A hot air balloon has crashed in a Glen Iris backyard. No one was injured and the family who lived in the house were fine. The pilot spoke to 7 News Melbourne about the ordeal.
The wind had started to kind of just go one way and then another and then another. So I just found myself kind of doing donuts around this area.
And yet another booing controversy has emerged in the AFL, this time focusing on the amount of security at Marvel Stadium. Major security was walking up and down the stadium during the Bulldogs' win against the Blues last Saturday night. Many patrons said the atmosphere was intimidating. Marvel Stadium's CEO Michael Green spoke the following morning to SEN Radio about the incident.
It's been something that we've been doing for a number of weeks. But I suppose what I would say, patron safety is our number one priority.
But who is the booing directed to? Players, umpires, other fans? You may recall the Anzac Day match where Pies captain Scott Pendlebury was booed by Essendon fans post-match, much to the disappointment and disgust of his coach, Nathan Buckley.
Just on behalf of both sides, I want to thank the crowd. Shame on anyone that booed a champion. Just like to acknowledge.
And Damien Puglisi was at Marvel Stadium last Saturday night. Damien, you're on the line.
G'day Leonardo. How are you?
Good, thanks. Did you experience any major security interference when you were at the game?
No, not for most of the game. It was a very enjoyable game when you don't barrack for either side. I saw some barracking by the Bulldogs, which encouraged a Carlton supporters to challenge them verbally, and I thought it was all good fun. But all of a sudden, this guy came over, and I think he had an orange vest. He sort of spoke to the Bulldog supporter to quieten down.
Alright, thanks Damien. People that we've spoken to have said the footy has become like a prison. And to finish tonight's report, another fan is in trouble for calling an umpire a bald-headed flog. We'll leave you with that one. We will have more on this later in tonight's bulletin. Find out how much your location matters when comparing school grades. That's still to come in HMV local news. Also, the latest on the Hawthorn West Primary School renovations. And later in sport, find out what happened to Ben Stratton after the pinching scandal. Welcome back. Our news editor Jordan Aaron has been working on a major story, finding out how much your location matters when comparing school grades. Students in regional Australia are doing better than people in metro Australia. This is also a throwback to last year's NAPLAN results, where Year 9 students in regional Victoria were doing better than metropolitan Year 9s. We will keep you posted with developments, but once again that story was found and researched by Jordan Aaron, our news editor, one of the many behind-the-scenes staff here at HMV. And with an update on the HWPS renovations, let's go live to Nik Towfigh Nia at Hawthorn West Primary School. Nick, what's the latest?
Well, Leo, since I last spoke to you, major parts of the sustainable garden have been demolished, including the entry. Recess block is still split into 15 minutes. And one thing to note is the foundation and Year 5 buddies will not see each other in the playtime, unless the split playtime ends. Now, despite Hawthorn West Primary School officially saying off camera that everything will be back to normal in term 2 holidays, some students, even some teachers, have spoken to us off camera saying that is unlikely to happen, as the renovations actually started later than you expected. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Nick, for that update. Returning to our main story now. And one theory raised on the extra security at Marvel Stadium is actually the name. Marvel has been trying to promote a family-friendly atmosphere with superheroes and other childlike figures. This, according to some, is the main reason security is patrolling the aisles. Do you think there is too much security? Let us know what you think in the comments below. A new cafe has been completed in Hawthorns West. Nik Towfigh Nia has the story.
$50 muffin.
The new milk bar, Barton, opened on Thursday. For years it's been ongoing renovations and has always been closed. Some Hawthorn West Primary School students are wondering if this will affect 7-Eleven's business on Church Street. This is Nik Towfigh Nia reporting for HMV Local News.
And before sport, if you hate dogs dying in movies, well, you're in luck. There's a website you can use. DoesTheDogDie.com can tell you if any animals are killed, amongst others. There are also questions like, do teeth get damaged? Does a head get squashed? Coming up next, sport.
It was an incredibly stupid thing to do, and I now realise the seriousness of what I've done.
Across the Hawthorn district and its surrounding areas, you're watching HMV, your local station. Women in Base, an HMV News special presentation, is coming soon to HMV. For Fortnite, gaming and so much more, subscribe to Mr. Merritt, proud supporter of HMV. In sport, Pie star Jaden Stevenson has been slapped with a 22-match suspension and $20,000 fine. 12 matches of his sentence were suspended, meaning he is a chance if Collingwood play finals. It is the longest betting fine in AFL history. All bets were unsuccessful. Hawks captain Jared Ruffhead has been suspended for 2 matches on pinching and stomping charges. Some say the charges were too soft, others say too much. The pinching made headlines and was a controversial topic throughout the week. And time to check Interscore Sport results for HWPS for the final time this year. In the mixed AFL, 48-35 HWPS win. Soccer, 7-5 Hawthorn West win. Softball, 9-1 St Joe's win. Mixed netball, unclear. And for the girls, soccer, NA, it was a scratch match. Softball, NA. Netball A, 21-10 HWPS win. And netball B, NA. Apologies once again if the graphics look bad, we couldn't be bothered remaking them. And players from the Richmond Tigers, including Dustin Martin, visited 3 lucky 3-4 classes at Hawthorn West Primary School Thursday afternoon. That's all we have. Oh yeah. They gave out some signatures, and here is a photocopied version of that. As you can clearly see, we have number 4, we got Dusty. There was Tom Lynch, recently traded from the Gold Coast, but that's it. I thought we spoke to. Oh no, we were supposed to speak to Dusty, but you know how it is. Houston, we have a problem. Hope you get that reference. Across the Hawthorn district and its surrounding areas, you're watching HMV, your local station. Come down to the Camberwell Market every Sunday for great buys and cheap products, antiques and collectibles. Every Sunday in Camberwell. Welcome back. Time to check your local weather for Hawthorn, Camberwell and Richmond. And time to check our top stories here on HMV Local News. And Bob Hawke has been remembered at an emotional farewell at the Sydney Opera House last Friday. Pie star Jaden Stevenson has been caught up in a betting scandal, suspended for 10 games and a $20,000 fine. And AFL outrage at Marvel Stadium, with many saying security has gone overboard. And before we go tonight, a quick update on the HWPS renovations, and 2 trees were pulled down on Wednesday. After school, I spoke to Charlie Soames, an eyewitness.
What did you see when the tree went down? Okay, so the bell's gone, they've made an announcement. The basketball court will be off use, and then we come down and we see there's a cable tied to the tree, which is now not there, and then the tree obviously fell down, and then later on they pulled down another tree, and that's pretty much what happened.
And on that note, that is HMV Local News for this Sunday evening. Thanks for tuning in. On behalf of the team, I'm Leonardo Puglisi. Good night.